Hi, I'm Rich Story. Welcome to another Level Up Cartooning. All you ever need to follow along with me is a pencil and paper. It doesn't get any easier than that, right? Now, before we get started, make sure you hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button as it helps this channel to grow, and hit the bell so you never miss a lesson. So we spent the last few weeks reveling in the spooky season. So much fun. But with that now in the rearview mirror, I thought I'd get back to doing a few turnarounds. We had left off drawing turnarounds with the timeless Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and I thought I would dip back into the Disney vault from back in the day, this time with one of our four-legged friends, that being Pluto, who made his debut 95 years ago, back in September of 1930 in the Mickey Mouse cartoon, The Chain Gang. He looks pretty good for 95. In fact, while Pluto has gotten a nip and tuck here and there, he's probably one of the least changed characters in the Disney stable. Alright, so let's draw. Okay, before we get started, just a reminder that a turnaround is a series of drawings of a character from different angles, literally creating a model sheet of that character. We start with a front view, then move into various other angles after extending some guidelines across the page to help position the character's features. Okay, so we're going to draw our turnaround of Pluto step by step, giving you the secret formula to be able to draw him again and again. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know I normally use the character's head to figure out how big the entire character is. Pluto's body varies in height depending on if he's sitting or standing or in an action pose. In his sitting pose, he's exactly 3 heads tall. In other words, however tall we draw Pluto's head shape, his entire body is 3 of those tall, with his ears extending up about another half head tall on top of that, depending on the angle of those ears. Okay? So what do you say we draw a roadmap for our turnaround of Disney's Pluto? So there's our roadmap for our turnaround of Pluto. Now before we go into step 2, I want to give you the layout of our Pluto turnaround using simple shapes for those of you who want a screen grab. Just something to help you when laying out your drawing. Okay, so now we're on to step 2. In this step we do what I call roughing out the features. I want to remind you that until the third and final step, you want to draw as light as possible. As I mentioned at the beginning, I use guidelines to help me to position Pluto's eyes, muzzle, body, and overall pose, but we don't want those guidelines in the final drawing. So you want to draw them light enough to be able to erase them easily. Okay, so let's rough out the features in our turnaround of Disney's Pluto. Okay, so there are the roughed out features of our Pluto turnaround. So now with the roadmap done and the features roughed out, it's time for that final step. In step 3, we get to have fun. We get to draw the final details of our Pluto turnaround. And we don't have to guess where to put things because we've already done all the hard work figuring that out. In this step, it's okay to draw darker, but don't press too hard or just mindlessly retrace over the lines you've already drawn. The goal is to always draw with an eye on tweaking and improving all the way until the very end. Okay, so let's draw in the details for our turnaround of Pluto. And that's how you do it. There it is, our turnaround of one of Disney's oldest and most beloved characters, Pluto. So how do you think you did? Understand if you've never drawn any version of Pluto before, let alone a turnaround of him, you can't expect to have drawn him perfectly. You'll notice I don't spend time coloring Pluto during this video because I want my lessons to focus solely on the drawing process. Now you have the secret formula, the process for drawing the turnaround of Pluto. And with that, you can draw him again and again, and by all means color him when you're done. I promise each time you draw him, it'll be a little better and a little easier. I also promise the more you work with me, the better you're going to get at all of your cartoon characters. So I'd love to see your turnaround drawing of Pluto. If you can, take a picture and post it on either Facebook or Instagram, and don't forget to include the hashtag #LevelUpCartooning. I hope you had as much fun as I did with this one. Remember to subscribe and thanks for joining me. Until next time, keep drawing, my friends.